It's been over a week since we learned that my son was diagnosed with hemophilia B factor 9 at 1%. So we let our whole family know. We reached out to our family who works for the state to see if we needed extra resources. We read that treatment can be up to $12,000 a year out of pocket, and so we were looking into extra resources because I want to make sure he gets his treatment, and I don't want financial means to ever hold us back, so that way we can ensure that he is healthy and he develops correctly. So one of the requirements is to get a second opinion. So we had scheduled an appointment anyways with a child specialist who specializes in hemophilia. The doctors who gave us the original diagnosis did admit that they have not had a baby in a really long time. So we agreed that it was probably best to always just seek a second opinion, especially from someone who specializes in pediatric care. So we see the specialist in May and it's only April. But in the meantime, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to go get testing done to see if I carry the gene for hemophilia. Usually women carry the recessive gene. I do have a daughter, which is also why it's important to see if I have that gene, because she will also be a recessive carrier. As far as I know, nobody in my family has had hemophilia or my husband's side. So, and I also read that 30% of individuals who have hemophilia have no family history. So that could be a possibility, but it's still always important to check so that way we know. They also say it's important to check if you or your family or your husband were deciding if you wanted more children. My husband and I had our daughter, and we were both deciding if we wanted a second baby. We wanted to wait till she was older. We were trying not to get pregnant, and I got pregnant with my son. But I was very healthy during my pregnancy because I was still nursing my daughter, so I wasn't drinking, I was still taking vitamins, I was still eating healthy. So I was much more healthy with my son being pregnant than my daughter, because for a whole month I didn't know I was pregnant with her. I thought I was just getting sick. How your pregnancy goes has nothing to do with if a child will get hemophilia. So even though I had a healthy pregnancy, a healthy delivery, that did not affect if he got it or not. So we are just still seeking answers. In the meantime, we got a baby gate for the kitchen. We put padding all throughout our house for our wood floors. We are considering adding carpet and putting padding underneath. So another situation that has been going on during this process was when I was teaching, they gave teachers a grant to purchase a home, because rent here is actually more expensive than just owning a home. So I looked into it, and I actually was able to purchase a home. And at the time, there was like 3 houses in the market that were in my price range, but I was really excited. I figured out that I could pay less owning a home than paying rent. So I looked around and I found a cute little home, and I was like, oh, I like, it's not my dream home, but it's a great starter home. I asked my husband, this was before the pandemic, should we get a bigger house? We have such a small home. And we have a 3-bedroom, so it's my bedroom, my daughter's bedroom, and then we have an office. So at the time, I was also going for my graduate degree in trauma-focused counseling, and I was teaching full-time. So it worked for us, and he was like, we still fit in our home. Like, yeah, it would be nice to upgrade, but our house payment is so low. Let's just focus on what we're doing now, and then maybe in the future, if we want to expand our family, we can always look into getting a bigger house. And I thought, fair enough, that sounds realistic. My daughter comes along, and I finished teaching for the school year, and I finished my clinical hours for my graduate degree. And so up next is my internship. Pretty excited about that. And then I found out I was pregnant with my son. I breastfed my daughter as long as I could until I lost my supply. And I told my husband when we found out I was pregnant that I probably should not work. It was going to be too much to try to juggle an internship. And when you do your internship, you still have to be online doing assignments and meeting with your class. That's a lot to handle with just one baby. And then on top of that, trying to nurse and schedule all that around everything. My husband and I decided it was best if I stayed at home with our children. So At that time, after the pandemic, everything kind of went to crap, and houses are extremely expensive. We spent so much time looking at houses. Our little house is small, but it has an updated kitchen and it works for our needs. It sucks we only have one bathroom as well, and it's a small bathroom. So the houses we looked at, for the price range, were just like, they weren't any better. I mean, yeah, you got a second bathroom, but they were so outdated or they were just trashed. And then the concern was a lot of them had multiple stairs, and with having 2 small children, I wasn't sure that would be the best option. And I am so thankful we did not do that, because my son having hemophilia, I cannot imagine the anxiety I would have with stairs that I had to climb every single day. I tried to be as positive as possible. At least we have a home. My friend during the pandemic, their owners of the house they were renting decided we're going to sell it because the market was way up. So they had to find a new place to live as soon as possible, and they ended up paying a lot more in rent from a place they found. So at least we had our home, and that was somewhere that's safe. And my children are young, and it's okay. Sometimes I'm like, it's such a small home, but I can see my children no matter where I go. It's not a lot to clean up, so I can keep things, as tidy as possible, and then basically our front room, as you can see in the background, is like their whole playroom. So that's just kind of how it works out. And it sucks because that main room you have to walk through to go to the bathroom, to go to the bedrooms. So sometimes you're stepping on toys, which we try to clean up, but that's kind of our position and update where we are at. So yep, in May we are going to go see the specialist. In the meantime, I'm using knee pads for him. He still has quite a bit of bruising that happens, and they're pretty bad. They still swell up really bad. So we ice them when we can. They say 3 times a day. That's really hard. So usually I ice in the morning during the morning nursing session, because that takes a little bit, and then in the evenings I will ice his big bruises as well. And then we also have elbow pads that we put on him. We just put up the gate so that he can't come in the kitchen. We never had a problem with the kitchen with my daughter. We gave her like one drawer and it had like her items in it, and she just played with it. My son wants to crawl under the kitchen table. My son wants to grab everything in the drawers. We cannot, the way our kitchen is set up, we cannot find anything to close specific drawers for rolling out, but we did find ones that opened. And so yeah, he is just very curious. He wants to be in everything. So we have to kind of be more cautious with him. And then our laundry door doesn't shut correctly. Our house is very old, and the people who did the extension didn't do the best job. So luckily we had someone come in and actually fix all our bedroom doors because none of them shut. So at least we got that done. And then they asked us, do you need anything else? And we were like, no, that's it. And then we completely forgot our laundry room door does not also shut. So so we're just kind of taking it day by day, making choices. Do we build an extension on our house and at least add carpet? Or do we wait for the market to calm down? Or do we wait until I go back to work in 3 years? So there's just a lot of things, and that's just part of life. So as far as how I am doing emotionally, I'm doing a lot better. I've come to accept at least there's treatment options. At least we can give him treatment so he can still have a normal childhood. When he starts injections in the vein 1 to 2 times a week, eventually he'll just learn this is his new normal. I read a book of how to raise a child with hemophilia. Very helpful. I think getting more information and taking time to process really helps, because in that moment after you hear the news, I think the best thing is just to allow yourself to grieve and accept every emotion that comes through. They have done multiple studies that show crying because you're sad versus other tears have different pH levels. So it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sad. Cry. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to ask lots of questions. So I did make a video about how to support someone going through a tough time, because as individuals who do go through tough times, we do need support. And it's important when we provide support to somebody, we do it in the most loving way. However, if we do things in loving ways, sometimes they can still be hurtful. So I did make that video if you're interested to see how we can support others if they are in tough situations. So thank you so much for listening to my update. I eventually want to create a vlog of our little journey, but I'm not there yet. so give me time. But I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I hope that you are taking care of your mental health.
Yeah. 阳光从窗外照进，打在你。